And as always, we start every show with some
news worth knowing!
Well done. Well done. You all passed, you can stay. Okay. I don't know if you've noticed, but okay. I want to use a word that I suspect I can't say on TV, okay? So just for this piece, I'm going to invent a new word that I might be able to say on TV, but you watching tonight will be telling me if it's bleeped or not, okay? I don't know if you've noticed, but people have been talking a lot of nonsense about South Africa recently. There's been a lot of nonsense afoot. Some, I might say, that there's a lot of kakafoot. Do you hear me? Does that make sense? That's our new word. I don't know if you on TV heard that or not, but we're going to find out. In the last few days and weeks, a bunch of white South Africans have proudly and loudly been lying about our country's history, spreading nonsense about our present, and posting purposefully misleading things about our people. So tonight, we are going to deal with all of this kakafoot, one by one, giving each single one the dose of truth and reality it deserves. We're going to look at claims that South Africa has hundreds of race-based laws that are as bad as apartheid, that white South Africans voted against apartheid, apparently, that apartheid was a democracy, and that Elon Musk's Starlink can't operate in South Africa because Elon is not black, apparently. All right, let's start with Pretoria Boys High's most infamous alum, Elon Musk. Elon Musk owns an internet company called Starlink. He wants the South African government to permit Starlink to operate in South Africa. The South African government said, sure, you're welcome to, so long as you comply with our business laws relating to multinational companies like everybody else does. Elon got very upset and posted, quote, Starlink is not allowed to operate in South Africa because I'm not black. That is what we in the world call a lie. That's kakafoot. Many multinational companies without black owners and CEOs operate in South Africa, including Microsoft, which, by the way, has complied with our laws, secured a great BBBEE rating, and literally just last week announced a new 5.4 billion rand investment into South Africa to expand its cloud and AI infrastructure in the country. This is on top of Microsoft spending 20 billion rand to open data centers in Johannesburg and Cape Town over the last few years. Satya Nadella is Microsoft's CEO. And you'll never believe this, Elon, he's not black. Elon is lying, but I don't even need you to tell me that, and this is the most embarrassing part. Elon's own AI called him a liar too, friends. Grok, the Twitter AI, was asked in a tweet why Starlink can't operate in South Africa, and it wrote, quote, Elon Musk, born in South Africa, faces regulatory hurdles with Starlink there due to licensing agreements mandating 30% ownership by historically disadvantaged groups as per South Africa's black economic empowerment policies. This isn't about Musk's race, but compliance with local laws. Shame. Imagine being knifed that hard in the back by one of your things, guys. It's not cute. Microsoft complies with local laws, Starlink doesn't. Musk lied. Kakafoot. Sorted. Number one. Okay, number two. The Kiffness is... Settle. The Kiffness is a musician. He wrote that 69% of white South Africans voted against apartheid. He referred to the 1992 referendum when white South Africans voted on whether the government should continue its reform process aimed at a new constitution through negotiations. Now, it is true that, well, it's actually 68.73% of white South Africans voted yes in that referendum. But the Kiffness and others are using that referendum result to mislead people into thinking that most white South Africans were against apartheid, which is, again, to use the technical term, a lie. Kakafoot. What actually happened is 69% of white South Africans voted for the ruling National Party eNCA position on the referendum question. Because, I don't know if you know this, the eNCA campaigned for the yes vote, and many white South Africans supported their position, as they did just 3 years before in the 1989 election when the apartheid-creating eNCA won. And the apartheid-creating eNCA also won the white South African vote in, let me check my notes, 1981, 1977, 1970, 1966, 1961, 1958, 1953, and 1948. The majority of white South Africans voted for apartheid 9 times out of 9 for 41 years. There were more successive NPA victories than Manchester City in the Premier League. Sure, once the NPA, yeah, they're literally better than Guardiola at apartheid, voted for by white South Africans. Sure, once the NPA realized that their days were numbered because South Africa was being crippled by sanctions and international pressure, they told white South Africans to vote yes in a referendum, but that was still the 10th time out of 10 that white South Africans voted for the NPA's position in a row. Saying that white South Africans voted against apartheid because of the 1992 referendum is like saying your dad, who binge drank for 41 years and then took a small break from binge drinking, is not an alcoholic. That is basically what they're trying to say. And by the way, in South Africa's first democratic election in 1994, just 2 years after the referendum, do you know who the vast majority of white South Africans voted for? The NPA. Your dad went straight back to binge drinking, folks. If the majority of white South Africans were genuinely anti-apartheid, they would have voted out apartheid long before 1992. And any suggestion otherwise is frankly an idiotic, offensive misportrayal of South African history. Kakafoot, 2 for 2. Ready for number 3? All right. Roland Schoeman is good at swimming. Recently, he has been good at swimming because he dopes. He was found guilty of doping. You're scandalized by the facts. He was found guilty of doping in 2020 and banned for a year, and he's been taking it really well. Since then, he's been struggling to find his new thing. He publicly begged President Ramaphosa to make him sports minister, was blue-ticked, and since then has spiraled into posting increasingly deluded alt-right silliness on the dark place formerly known as Twitter. And hilariously, Roland has been caught cheating again, because famous comedian Riyad Musa pointed out that Roland was using AI to generate answers to his critics because he was using the double hyphen, which AI uses, but newsflash, humans don't. So now he's stopped using the double hyphen, but let's look at something that it seems Roland came up with himself. He posted that apartheid was, quote, an exclusionary democracy. He wrote that it was a democracy, just not for everyone. Kakafoot. As we all know, democracy is a system of governance by the whole population where every adult has a vote with equal power. Everyone who is ruled by that system of governance participates in its creation. Anything else? Not a democracy. Black South Africans were ruled over by the apartheid governance systems and had no power and no vote over its creation, even against their will. Not a democracy. Thank you for playing. Maybe try the swimming pool again. In fact, I'll go one better. Maybe take a few more performance-enhancing drugs and then come with better thoughts. That would be great. Now, what you should be noticing here is a strategy. These people and others are willfully, purposefully lying. They're misleading. They're rewriting the past. They're rewriting the present with alt-right talking points in order to try and ram false ideas into our heads for us to hold on to and repeat. What they're trying to do is destabilize the facts. They're trying to undermine what we know to be true. They're trying to make us hesitate. They're trying to make us lose confidence in what actually happens. This is an alt-right strategy all around the world, championed by Donald Trump's Make America Great Again movement. They lie, they decontextualize historical facts to create a misleading portrayal. They cast doubt over things that absolutely did happen. Now, some of this is orchestrated, and there is plenty of secret funding and dark money flowing around to different prominent voices around the world to say these things. Some of it is opportunistic people using the playbook that they see working for others to gain clout for themselves. And some of it is fools who drank the Kool-Aid and are now useful idiots in this broader agenda. But it's all happening here in South Africa, and more so than ever before.